my name is Alexandra Couture, Alex for short. I am formerly the supply chain manager at Atlas, and prior to that, I did a little bit of time in human resources. I am now the last mile and logistics director for the company. I was honored when Ellen asked me to present today, but I'm not gonna lie, I was a little bit nervous. And for anyone out there who knows me personally, you know I'm not scared to communicate and I'm not scared to speak. And I have an amazing company with so much credibility in the safety world. We're committed to delivering oil fields' most efficient, safe, and technological advanced logistics services. So I knew I would have a lot to speak about. And I didn't know why I was nervous. And the reason I was nervous was because this is such an important topic. We're talking about safety. And so I knew that I didn't want to just deliver a presentation. I wanted to make an impact today. I've been to so many of these events, and most speakers, almost all of them, have made a huge impact on my life, and some have left me in tears. So I wanted to do that same thing for y'all today. So I was trying to figure out how I was going to present. I haven't given a live presentation in probably over 2 years. So I started thought back to high school. I want to do my intro, I want to do my body, I want to do my conclusion. And I knew there were 2 things I wanted to cover in my introduction, and that was a thank you and my why. So my first thing I want to open with is thank you for everyone who is here today. I always refer to the Permian Basin as the New York City of the South because it truly is an area that does not sleep. So I know everyone who is in this room today had somewhere else they could have been or had something else they could have done, and you guys chose to be here today. So I would love to have a round of applause to everyone in this room, and I genuinely appreciate your support and you guys being here, if you guys can. So the second thing I wanted to add to my intro was my why. So this is my why. This is why I'm here today. We have this on our website, Join the Atlas Family. We view our teammates and our coworkers and our leaders and our peers as family. And then to the right, you're gonna see that is my daughter. So this is my why. This is why I'm here today. This little girl on the right lives in Austin, and she is waiting for her mom to return. And I know that is the same thing for all of you guys today. We all have loved ones and family and friends that are on the roads in the Permian and in the state of Texas, and everyone just wants to get home to their family, and all of their families just want them to return. So then I started thinking, well, how am I going to make an impact? I didn't know where to start. So I was sitting in my kitchen waiting for my daughter to get home from cheer, and she runs in the door and she says to me, "Mommy, we did our first lift today at cheer." And for you guys who do not know what a lift is, I didn't know either. I'm a soccer player. It is that hold on the left. And I said, "Well, how did you guys do that?" And she said, "Well, since January, we have not had our whole team. We did the lift because everyone showed up." And I instantly thought to myself, that is what I'm going to talk about today. When everyone shows up, you can accomplish big things. Everyone showed up, they did the lift, and if everyone shows up in the Permian, we can make a really big impact. So I like to do tangible goals. I love to dream, but I think tangible goals are really important. So I wanted to start today. So if 50 people in this room today, over the next quarter, rolled out one safety initiative in their company or personally, we will have done 150 safety initiatives by January of next year. This is a very small, tangible goal. All you have to do is roll out one thing a quarter that can make the Permian Basin a safer place. And so I put under there small action for big impact. So I'm going to talk a little bit about the Permian. For anyone who does not know, Atlas is in the sand industry as well as we are in logistics, so we move proppant. This is the state of the logistics market today. So you're going to see, this is actually a chart of all the haulers that pick up from our sand plants. We have one in Kermit, one in Monahans, and you can see how fragmented it is. So this one in particular, we knew who this was. This was a 120 truck fleet, and then it just goes all the way down from here. This is how many haulers have picked up at our facility. So it's a highly fragmented market with many small companies. Sleeper cabs are the norm, limiting asset utilization to 11 hours per day, which limits payload per vehicle that can be delivered. Payload limited to 24 tons due to regulations. We all know that in here. Low margins, high degree of diversity of assets within even the larger trucking companies, limits innovation and access to capital. Highly manual and labor intensive. Driver is the largest single cost component of operating a commercial truck. And of course, it is unsafe. Fatal traffic accidents in the Permian are far too common, which is why we are all here today to put an end to that. The reality of delivering proppant. The scale of Permian proppant demand, there's 9,700 tons of proppant per well on average last year. There were 5,100 wells completed in the Permian, which equals 50 million tons of estimated annual sand demand in 2022. What does this do for our roads? It drives demand for logistics. There are 400 truckloads per well, 52,000 miles driven per well for proppant alone. So that's just the sand. There's other vehicles needed for the frac, for water. There's so many vehicles showing up, as well as your coordinators, your employees. There's so many vehicles on the road to get this done. So 21 million truckloads of annual estimated proppant delivery demand. So this chart on the left shows you that compared to a typical U.S. motorist, the Permian Sand County motorist is 5 times more likely to have an accident. The Permian Basin is transforming into a factory on the ground. So there's a lot of changes happening in the Permian. Dry holes have become a thing of the past. Shale allows for well-defined targets, systematic processes, and predictable outcomes. We're evolving. We're trying to transform to safer and more efficient infrastructure and technology solutions, driving down economic waste and reducing emissions. We're trying to replace lower cost and lower output wells that could be developed with limited resources with technically complex operations, which commands a premium on scale, innovation, and efficiency. So basically, this whole slide is basically just about how the Permian is evolving. So the future of the Permian, enhanced logistics, infrastructure, and technology will drive efficiencies for decades to come. So our company wanted to figure out, how can we be a part of this? How can we use technology and efficiencies to create a safer road, create a safer workplace? And this is a little bit about my company. So what I want to talk about today is, if we all show up, what can we achieve? These are some of the things that my company has done in the past 5 years to show up and be present in the safety community. So we have a facility in Kermit. We have a facility in Monahans. Both are sand plants. And of course, we also run logistics, as I talked about earlier. And we try to be in the forefront of applying advanced technology to proppant supply and logistics. We recently just rolled out our own trucks and trailers. We chose the bottom drop option. Bottom drop safety benefits. They hold more tonnage, so it leads to less trucks needed per well. It eliminates a driver backing in at the well site and parking in tight spaces. It has about a 5 to 10 minute offload, which leads to a reduction in sand trucks at the well site all at the same time, which leads to a safer work environment, and allows the driver to stay in his or her tractor during both the offload and loadout process. Atlas Logistics capabilities. So we started with 7 tractors delivered in late December of last year. Our first customer delivery with our trucks and trailers were January 3rd of this year. We are utilizing a slip seat model, essentially doubling our fleet size. We are going to build a fleet of up to 120 trucks plus trailers, and we are currently at 16 fit-to-purpose trucks plus trailers. And here's an image of them, as well as our trailers offloading at a well site. So what are we doing to drive the safety initiative? When we rolled out our trucking company, we refer to it as Fountainhead. We wanted to make sure we had applications that benefited the Permian's safety progression. So this is an app we use. There are many out there, very similar. But this comes with GPS fleet tracking, fuel and maintenance, equipment monitoring, driver workflows, reporting, AI dash cams, which is so important, driver safety and coaching, and site visibility. I believe everyone should have some sort of software that helps you coach and just really deliver positive safety messaging to your drivers. So here's a few images of the application. You'll see here on the right, dual-facing cameras that utilize AI to identify coachable driver habits. So it's picking up the driver's eyes, his hands, the whole cab, and then you also have a front-facing camera that detects exactly where he's at on the road, he or she is at on the road. You can see the speed limit in comparison to the driver's speed. You have access to coaching sessions facilitated and tracked in the app itself, so it will actually ding management if they feel like a driver needs to be coached. It has GPS monitoring of the truck speed, and it allows us to have duty time compliance, so this keeps track of all of us. It's e-logged, so we have track of all of this within the application. There's also PPE training, including H2S monitors and respiratory fit testing available. So here's a few Atlas safety metrics and requirements that we use to operate. So days since last recordable, this is the last mile team in Fountainhead, which is our trucks. So we just kicked off in January, so Fountainhead Logistics has had 56 days since the last recordable, which is 0% since we opened. And our last mile team actually just celebrated a huge milestone. I believe it was last October or November, where we went 500 days recordable incident free. So that was a huge victory for us. We are now on day 597. Driver requirements for our own personal trucks. CDL issued by the USA, minimum age of 23 with 24 months of verifiable like trucking experience, no DUI or DWI in the past 84 months. All drivers will be subscribed to the FMCSA Drug and Alcohol Clearinghouse, no more than 1 accident or 2 moving violations in the past 36 months. And they must have an active single CDL to actually be hired by our company. So the vendor approval process. We actually cannot hire a third-party trucking company to run for us unless our legal team has approved them. And the most important part of this process is that we actually do monthly validation, so our legal team will go in and revalidate what they have already approved. So they're gonna go in and verify DOT operating, the operating status. They're gonna go in and verify the vendor safety and drug policy. They're gonna go in and verify the tech stock compliance monthly. They're gonna go in and verify insurance is compliant monthly. So our legal team is checking on all of this very frequently. Other operational safety additions that we have, and these are big wins to us. If you can't accomplish the big things right away, it's so important just to tackle the small things. How can we make the Permian safer in one meeting? What can y'all roll out? So there are safety management systems. For instance, My Momentum is one of them. This will allow your team to see if there are any issues on site. They can report problems. You can create action plans. Signage. I've heard a lot of positive feedback from signage at our wells and our lease roads. Our drivers now know where to turn, and if they can see this visibly from the road, it allows them to slow down in a good time and allows them to not have to U-turn once they've missed the entrance. So driver-wise, I've heard a lot of positive feedback on this. Safety meetings. We have safety meetings weekly between our trucks and our last mile teams. This is vital. If you do not talk about safety, no one is hearing you. We have to talk about safety. It is crucial. We do this weekly, and we do celebrations. We make sure that anything that needs to be resolved gets resolved, and we create action items on all of these meetings. Another important thing that we do is pre-job routing. So our last mile supervisors do pre-job routing for our third parties, and our leaders on the trucking side will go do pre-job routing for our trucks as well. And this just ensures a seamless delivery on the very first try. Normally, trucks, they go back and back and back to the same spot, so they familiarize themselves with their route, but the first time is crucial, and anytime a driver has to U-turn or slam their brakes, that's when you have unsafe roads in the Permian, so pre-job routing to me is very, very important. Another cool thing that we have rolled out company-wide is remote loadout. So if you go to an Atlas facility, we do not have a loadout team on site. All of them sit in Austin. So operationally, we are able to utilize 3 members of loadout per each 12-hour shift to load all 14 silos. So each facility has 7 silos. We have 3 people loading all 14 of them. And by removing loadout from the plant and putting them in an office, we have removed them from the line of fire. The ability to load from Austin in our command center. So they are loading from Austin. They are no longer in the Permian, but they all understand that life. Most of them came from the Permian to Austin. They understand safety culture and how important it is out here in the Permian. We have interlocks in place that auto shut off all loads to be just under the requested first fill and under the legal limit of 80,000. This is very important. Automating this has created, in my eyes, a safer Permian roads. I do not believe any truck should ever be out there over the legal limit, and having full visibility to how much your truck is loaded and being able to cut it off without human error is vital. The driver has the ability to request and automate lower tonnages. Some box types, for example, cannot hold the full amount, and also at the end of well. Drivers request their split at the check-in screen. So this is driver's discretion on their axle weight. We also have automated recognition of all stored overweight permits as well as their expiration date. So once it expires, they cannot be loaded overweight. Our system recognizes that. We have 2-way intercoms at all driver touch points, safe racks, kiosks, silos, and BOL printers. And we've actually had faster load times come from this, so we are more efficient. We have efficiency gain, and we average under 10 minutes from check-in to exit.
Welcome to Atlas Sand. Your first stop is the hatch opening station to open your hatches. Posted at each station are safe rack instructions. If you need assistance, press the help button provided. Climbing on top of a truck without utilizing our stations and without proper PPE is strictly prohibited at Atlas Sand facilities. Next, proceed to an open automatic check-in kiosk. If you have an Atlas toll tag, your truck will be scanned and then verify the information on the kiosk screen is correct. If the information is correct, then scan your PO-specific check-in QR code under the kiosk screen. If scanned information is correct, click Save and then Yes to the prompt, Is truck in yard? If information is incorrect, press the Help button on the kiosk intercom for assistance. Next, proceed to the silos. A red light, green light system will be used to notify you when to enter a silo. Once the light is green, you can enter. Once in the silo, a light system will be used to position you in place, then loading will begin. Once loading is complete, a green light will notify you to proceed to the silo printer. The BOL will automatically print. If you need any assistance, press the Help button on the printer intercom. Please practice safe driving habits and arrive at your next stop safely. We will see you soon.
All right, so those are a few things that Atlas has done. And I just want to encourage everyone else to do the same. Again, I'm bringing it back to the intro where I said if 50 people in this room do 3 safety action items in Q2, Q3, and Q4, just this room alone will have accomplished 150 safety action items in the Permian Basin. And just a fun little quote, safety is contagious, and I just want everyone to be encouraged and really assert themselves in the safety world out here in the Permian. If we don't talk about it, we cannot achieve it, and we all have to do it together. Does anyone have any questions? That's all I have.